Hey, how's it going, guys? I finally got my hands on this. This is the new Nokia T10 tablet that's available for $160 or $170 online. It's also available on Amazon that I'll link down below. So on the back, you've got some stuff that it mentions here. The most notable thing I want to say is that it mentions it's going to have 2 years of OS upgrades. That's really nice to see, and that's actually one of the reasons why I prefer recommending a branded tablet like Nokia or Samsung versus those off-branded tablets that you might not have ever heard of before, just because you'll have more updates and upgrades going around, especially in today's day and age. So anyways, there's also a 5250 milliamp hour AI assisted battery. Now let's see how well the AI does. I mean, obviously we'll have to test that out and everything, but it mentions that it's going to have a long day battery life, or a full day. Then there's a USB-C type charging, 10-watt charging support, octa-core processor. I believe it's a Unisoc T606, and then you can also watch videos in HD because this has a wideband level certification of L1, which is nice to see on an 8-inch device. In the box you have the tablet itself, put that to the side, and then you've got a product guide, safety info to get started. You also get a pin for the micro SD card tray, USB cable, USB-C cable, and a wall outlet. This is the micro SD card slot on the side of the tablet. Nothing else on this side. On the bottom we've got the USB-C cable for port, a microphone, and a speaker. There's also a speaker on top here, which is interesting. So I guess it emits from both sides. And not to mention that there's also a 3.5mm headphone jack, power button that's up here, and to the side is the volume keys, which I absolutely love because it's almost always one way where they're just on one side, and so you can get them confused every now and then. I know it's a small thing, but it's definitely appreciated here that they split them up. And then on the back you've got the camera that's not really protruding too much compared to the other tablets. Probably not really a special camera, even though they'll say it's like 8 megapixels or something, along with the flash. Then there's a front camera in the middle. So here's the video quality through here and the microphone. I can't see the screen too well, but I can kind of see it, and it doesn't look like it's anything too special. Also, the video is capped at 720p. There is no 1080p, which I guess you could say is a little unfortunate, but it doesn't really matter too much in my opinion. The back is made of texture, but it's just all plastic all around, so nothing crazy, and it isn't too thick or heavy. Bezels are a little slimmer than the one on my ONN 8-inch tablet, so it makes it easier to hold and grip in one hand than this one, of course. Now it's kind of apples to oranges because this is a budget tablet. I've got face unlock set up here, and it's super quick, snappy, just like that. And just my first impressions, I'm not really impressed on the screen. The colors feel kind of dull, and there's like this level of over sharpness on here, if that makes sense. At least the screen is laminated. My other little issue is that this Google Quick Play search bar cannot be moved or removed at all, so you're kind of stuck there, which is kind of unfortunate. And then there's a good amount of pre-installed software here. It's just mostly Google apps, along with these two, Netflix and Spotify, which can be uninstalled if you want to. And there's still a good amount of storage space available. I've been watching some videos here on Netflix as well, and the speakers are actually not too bad. I mean, since they emit from both sides, it isn't as loud as I want it to be at certain times, and then other videos it does a really good job. I guess it's better than having it on the back. Honestly, front-facing speakers would have been perfect on this, but it's all good. And you can kind of tell that performance is a little slower at times here and there. Not to the point where it's like unusable, but it's just not completely smooth. The Geekbench scores were relatively low as expected, but it does have an ARM Mali G57. I want to say that's a little bit newer or different from seeing the ARM Mali G52 for almost a year and a half or 2 years. So you can normally get a score of around a little bit above 300, then multi-core score is around 1200. Having 4 gigs of RAM is still pretty beneficial because performance seems to be great when I'm multitasking right now. I don't really notice any lag whatsoever, so there's no better way to check out performance than playing games. First game here is Roblox, and it seems to work just fine. I think the graphics are set to lower, probably even the lowest that they can go. I mean, it's at automatic, so I'm assuming it's low. I'm not going to raise it anymore because things tend to work pretty smoothly on here. Have not noticed any lags. I mean, I think the only time was when there's like a car or vehicle that just like spawned in, But that's pretty much it. Next game here is Runescape. I accidentally clicked power save. I had balance on before, so I'm not sure how much this changes things. I guess it does kind of slow down the frame rate. Otherwise it was just really smooth. I mean, this is actually not too bad either. I mean, I'm noticing hiccups here and there a little bit more as I look around the screen. But besides that, yeah, it's actually not too smooth in frame rate. But when you're close up, it's definitely a little better. Like, you notice less lag and the frame rate seems to be a little more consistent. But I'm seeing it drop to like 20s here. Let me try to change the settings, because I think graphics have been adjusted a little bit here where, okay, we got textures added along with like everything else that we don't need. The graphics have been set to the lowest level that it can go, and yeah, everything's much more smooth now. I get consistent like 30 frames, doesn't really drop too much, and there's less hiccups as well. Overall, things tend to run really well. I really have no complaints here. So I thought this was gonna lag a little more. Finally, I'm checking out Diablo Immortal, and I can tell this game lags a little bit from time to time. Is it playable? I guess I would say so. I mean, I'm not really noticing any major lags. Frame rate isn't completely smooth, you can probably tell. And yeah, but in the beginning, like when you see the level up kind of pop up and everything, it's gonna freeze for a moment, just like it did there, especially when enemies are dropping by. Okay, yeah, it just took a little longer than expected just because I wanted to be sure whether or not there's like a lot of lag that would make it unplayable at points. But it seems playable, so that's good. In terms of battery life, I really haven't tested this out too thoroughly, but based on what I see here, this looks really good. So right now, from 100% down to 85%, I've used the screen for about 2 hours and 15 minutes, or it's been on for that long. I was playing Runescape for about 30 minutes, Diablo for 18, so on and so forth, and Netflix here and there. So this thing can last quite a bit, I would say, in terms of battery life. I know I'm going on a limb here because I haven't tested it out too thoroughly, but just based on this, the AI, whatever they have, it does a really good job of maintaining battery life. Just to have 2 hours of on-screen time and only deplete 15%, that's really impressive. That tells me, overall, that this tablet is definitely a viable option. Now, of course, there's not too many 8-inch tablets out there in the market that came out this year at this price range, and I think that this will come down in price, because, I mean, it has to. I mean, there are some flaws here and there, but overall, I like it. Like I said, it's a viable option. You can play videos in HD, you can even game on here. Multitasking was still decent. I wish the screen wasn't so over sharpened, and the speakers, if they're front facing, that would have been even better. So, but either way, I like what Nokia is doing here. I think they'll keep on improving as well. So I'll have links down below as to where you can get this. But let me know what you guys think. Would you pick this up? Consider picking this up if it came down in price? I'd love to hear your thoughts. As always, thanks for watching.